a school, an academy that a lot of people don't know about, but it's been around for a while. I guarantee you, Abu, the powers that be will try to take this program down. We may even get some letters in the mail, don't you think?
Oh yeah, that's yeah. This might be grounds for litigation. That's
Yeah, it
hadn't
might be.
considered that, but now that you mention it, yeah.
It might just be. It might just be. I'm going to read a scripture passage from First Timothy that I think is relevant. What do you think of that opening song by B. Moses there, by the way, Abu?
When I it was quite entertaining. And when I logged in, the very first thing I heard the guy say was "false doctors of divinity." I said, "Oh, this is appropriate."
Kind of fitting for tonight, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. I just want to read this right here. This is First Timothy chapter 6, verse 20. And we're going to read 20 and 21. Okay, here's what it says. O Timothy. So this is the Apostle Paul writing to his mentee, his student, a young pastor. O Timothy, guard the deposit entrusted to you. And if you read the context here, this ultimately relates to the gospel, saying this gospel message, this gospel truth, guard that. Look at this now. Avoid the irreverent babble and contradictions of what is falsely called knowledge. The word there is gnosis, of course, but it's pseudo-gnosis. Look at verse 21. For by professing it, some have wavered from the faith. Grace be with you. I think that's perfect because he's addressing false teachers. They're addressed elsewhere in the letter as well. And some people say that must be proto-Gnosticism. I don't think so, just because the word is used. It really is just Paul criticizing these false teachers' line of thought. They thought they were so great. They gave themselves labels, and they said what they were promoting was true knowledge, but they ultimately actually rejected the truth, which is the gospel. And so their teaching, therefore, is not true knowledge. I think that relates to tonight's program. Abu, talk about what we're going to talk about tonight.
Well, I was hoping you were leading it, but as I understand, we're going to be taking a look at the Hebrew Academy International, which, if now you're more well informed than I am on this, but if I'm not mistaken, as I was just writing to Mr. Phil Fox in the live chat, it started out in Detroit, if I'm not mistaken. It was originally the Hebrew Academy of Detroit, but now it's gone international, it's gone global, and it's the Hebrew Academy International, and it's another one of these curious non-accredited institutions, and I guess we'll discuss the amount of academic rigor that takes place there, and the value of the education that can achieve there.
And the gentleman who was on the mic earlier, B. Moses, he's the one who first told me about the proprietor of the institution. So that's my guy. He's in Columbus, and he said, hey, there's this guy, Dr. Kenneth Howard. He's a Hebrew Israelite, and he's influencing a lot of people in Columbus, Ohio. And that was significant because he was based in Detroit. And let me tell you, if you're in Ohio, it takes a lot for you to trust someone from Michigan, okay? But nonetheless, they did, and he told me a little bit about it. And that was my first introduction and knowledge was actually from my guy there, Brandon. Well, what happened is there was a critique of the debate that I recently did with Zion Lex, and the critique led me back to the Hebrew Academy of Detroit. And so to start off, I want to play a part of some of Zion Lex discussing with Morey Von Parker, who's a teacher at the school, the debate. And because this is the way I kind of was led into researching this deeper. And so I'll take everyone on that same little journey real quick here. So listen to this. Let's play this little clip here. Let's check this out here with Morey Von.
As apparently led by Vocab Malone and some like him, they're the new face of the KKK and Nazi movement in this country, with their devilish antics that we've seen pronounced highly in this country during slavery, that they literally had the audacity to tell us what we should think of ourselves as and what we should not think of ourselves as.
Wow.
Here's something interesting for you, Morazan Lex, and for your audience.
Moray Von Parker apparently agrees with Zion Lex's assessment of myself and the urban apologetics movement that it is the new triple K National Socialist movement with antics comparable to what happened in the antebellum South. Honestly, I pretty much lost almost all respect for Zion Lex at this point.
Yeah, it's unfortunate when things go there, but this is a
Abu,
common theme, it seems, unfortunately.
Yeah, a few things. Isn't he just, using the same playbook? It's when these guys can't answer a Christian urban apologist or feel intellectually frustrated with them, they just say that they're basically running a white supremacist racist operation. That's their response.
Yeah, exactly. It's a familiar trend. It's unfortunate that because I don't know a lot about Zion Lex, but from the little bit I've seen, he seems to be of a higher intellectual caliber than a lot of other Israelites. So it's unfortunate to see him, I guess, sink to that level. But yeah, it is a familiar trend. It mirrors things we've seen from others, where a fairly straightforward academic conversation goes south pretty quickly.
Yeah, imagine educators or academics who disagree ending up after a discussion where they disagree in the process of supposedly reviewing said discussion, labeling these kind of charges at each other. I'm not saying it's never happened in the history of humanity, but it's just not really kosher or protocol the way things are supposed to be done. I just want to play this clip one more time. I want everyone to understand this is supposed to be a debate review, and Moray Von Parker apparently agrees. Watch him shake his head. Listen to what Zion Lex actually says, and ask yourself: is that right? What did vocab say in that debate? What would elicit this kind of reaction? You got a little crackle pop over there. What's going on, Abu?
Yeah, I thought it was on your end, but yeah.
No, when you mute yourself, it disappears. I don't know if you were able to call back in a different line or something, but let's play this clip one more time.
Look of it is going to be different. Christian urban apologetics, as apparently led by Vocab Malone and some like him, they're the new face of the KKK and Nazi movement in this country, with their devilish antics that we've seen pronounced highly in this country during slavery, that they literally had the audacity to tell us what we should think of ourselves as and what we should not think of ourselves as.
He agrees.
Here's something interesting for you, Morazan Lex, and for your audience.
It's funny. These guys get so upset if someone supposedly tells them who they are, which I didn't do that in the debate at all. But yet they have no problem telling all the Ashkenazim who they are and aren't. It's like, turnabout's fair play. But that's not even what I'm doing. Nonetheless, that's one clip. Let me see here. I think I've got a few other clips. They're having a little discussion, doing a little review of the debate. And let me just see if I can find it here. Hold on. Give me a second. And by the way, if you're coming in, please do hit that like button. I appreciate everybody coming in. I understand that it's late, but I appreciate you coming in at this late time, and we will have a good discussion because we have not got into the meat of it yet, but we will. Just give it a second here. I just wanted to play, I think, one other video here that I got lined up. I might play this clip later. I can't find the clip I wanted to play right now. Let's see. Okay. Say what? Were you saying something?
No, sir. I didn't say anything.
Okay. I might play some other clips later there with Moray Von Parker. Hold on. I got them right here. They should be showing up. Let me just try. Oh yeah, there they go. There, I was looking on the wrong folder. I apologize. I got a lot of stuff for this program today, everybody. And so a little bit of a wading through it. I know we're not going to be able to get to it all. And so I was just wading through it and I went to the wrong folder. I apologize for that. But here, these are all short clips, by the way. These are all short clips in this review. Okay, here we go. Let's listen to Maury Von Parker again.
From the God in the New Testament. The God in the Old Testament is wicked, vengeful, bloodthirsty God.
Yep.
But
That's
this
what they
new
say.
God in the New Testament is this loving, kind, compassionate, European looking God.
The one who gets it right.
Okay. Let me explain what's going on here. This is in the context of reviewing our debate, Who Are the Biblical Israelites? If you listen to the debate, I think you will find this review pretty strange. So here, Maury Von Parker claims to be an expert of some sort in church history. So he came on the program to recite his knowledge of church history. Here he's saying that replacement theology, which he's saying I hold to, which is something only dispensationalists say. So I wonder if these two gentlemen are dispensationalists, because the term didn't exist until dispensationalists wanted to slur critics of their position, and so invented the term replacement theology. So no one before dispensationalists ever called anyone else a replacement theologian. So it's merely a slur by dispensationalists to try to shortcut responses. Now, I'm not saying all dispensationalists use it, but most do. So it was never understood to be that prior, but they're ripping off that slur. But he's trying to trace fulfillment theology or covenantal theology to Marcion, who carried, quote, a theological crusade to purge the church of what he perceived to be dangerous Jewish errors and influences. Later, many of these, I'm reading a slide, same anti-Judaic sentiments found their way into the thinking writings of the early church fathers. So he's saying they're influenced by Marcion. Irenaeus, for instance, wrote, quote, the Jews have rejected the Son of God and cast him out of the vineyard when they slew him. Therefore, God has justly rejected them and has given to the Gentiles outside the vineyard the fruits of his cultivation. And then it's from the Nicene Fathers. But here's why I bring that all up. And Abu, I want to get your comment. He literally slipped in and made up the idea that Marcion was presenting a white God. Maury Von Parker, you claim to be an educator. I do not know if you are a liar, sir. But you are certainly mistaken about that. Bring forth one receipt that shows us Marcion was promoting a white European-looking God. Prove it. Show us that. Because you literally just said that. And Zion Lex agreed with you. He obviously has strong ignorance of church history, so he's listening to you as an adjunct professor, instructor there at the Hebrew Academy of Detroit, which is now called the Hebrew Academy International, and you're telling him Marcion brought in a European God. Now, Marcion is a heretic. I've talked about Marcion. In fact, one time I called Divine Prospect a modern-day Marcion, and the reason I said that is because he made his own canon. I wasn't saying it in reference to his philosophical underpinnings of rejecting physical matter as being bad, basically. Well, having that influence on a thought, Neoplatonism, that kind of stuff, which again, this is conceptual philosophical stuff. It doesn't have to do with the way God looks or something. You're making that up. You should be ashamed of yourself. I'm going to play this clip again, and I'd like to hear what Abu says. I'm sure he'll be more guarded than I am.
From the God in the New Testament. The God in the Old Testament is wicked, vengeful, bloodthirsty God.
Yep.
But
That's
this
what they
new
say.
God in the New Testament is this loving, kind, compassionate, European looking God.
The one who gets it right.
The one who gets it right.
And happens
Blonde
to be
hair,
light.
blue-eyed God.
European God, and Zion Lex says, and happens to be white. This is a total lie. Marcion's a heretic, but that's not what he taught.
So replacement theology carries the theological crusade to purge, listen to this, to purge the church of what he perceived to be dangerous Jewish errors and influences. So this is why, and more Alex, I don't know if you've done some studies on this, Fictus Judaicus, a coin that was used in Rome. The Yahudim had to pay taxes to practice their religion, to practice their faith.
No, I'm not familiar with that.
So
all right,
what happened is,
let's get some commentary. Have you done much work in Marcion and the heresy, or I'm curious what you would say about what he just said there? in regards to church history. You are somehow in the green room again, but I don't want you in the green room. Let's make sure you can speak.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Okay. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. Okay. So, yeah, that's the first I've ever heard that Marcion was, and it's good that you played that twice, because the first time I simply heard European God, I thought he meant that somehow like conceptually, but then said European looking, it sounded like on the second.
Yes, he did. And
listen,
Zion Lex said, of course, he said, who happens to be white, and he didn't disagree with it.
Yeah, that's news to me. Maybe there's something I missed in the literature. It's we're not off to a good start. It's I would hate to think if this professor's presentation there might cast doubt on the institution he's associated with. So perhaps we should put up the disclaimer that a little bit of sloppiness, academic sloppiness on the part of this professor should not be considered as reflecting upon the prestigious Hebrew Academy International.
Oh, boo.
In all fairness.
All right, I think I got one more clip of the professor. Question, Abu, do you know, have you looked over the faculty? Do you know if Professor Richard Katz happens to teach there?
No, I don't. But as you know, there's another institution. I don't know which institution it is. Maybe it's this institution. Maybe it's a completely different institution, which gave Richard Katz, or at least the mind behind the Richard Katz sock puppet, a PhD of his own. So there might be a few of these institutions floating around, which is why I wrote in the live chat that I put up yet another disclaimer. I said that the Hebrew Academy International is not to be confused with the Hebraic Institute of Theology. Apparently,
correct.
These are two different
Shout out
institutions.
to Alan Torres for a massive super chat, probably the biggest super chat this channel has ever seen. Alan Torres, I do not think this channel has ever received a super chat of that size. So I thank you graciously and kindly and humbly. My goodness. All I can say is
glory to
thank you.
God indeed.
Yeah, Abu, it must be your calming voice. You must be the reason. Here, I got two more clips though. Again, thank you very much, Alan Torres. Let me just set up this clip here as well. I think I got two more clips from Morey. Can you tell people what Morey is real quick while I get this clip, please?
It just means teacher ultimately.
Have you noticed they don't like the term rabbi?
Christian urban apologetics, as apparently
I already played that one.
led by Vocab Malone and some like him. They're the new face of the KKK and Nazi movement in this country.
I already played that one. Here's the clip I was
The life of me, it seems as if Vocab is afraid to admit that. So he bypasses the Tanakh, jumps into the New Testament where he can flourish in terms of his ideology.
He's talking about the debate. Now, I ask everyone who watched the debate, did I not spend some time, for example, in Genesis? In Genesis where Abraham is called. Because what he says in the beginning there is the Vocab is afraid to admit that we're the people. And a lot of the interaction, even a lot of the quotes from the New Testament I had were interacting with New Testament texts as well. But here, let's play this.
The third part that I had some problem with is where he espouses this dispensationalism when it comes to his doctrine that the church is the new Israel.
Hey, Abu, is that dispensationalism?
Yeah. I was just going to say that another thing I learned tonight is you're the dispensationalist. They get to say that in advance. They preempted you. I'm not the dispensationalist. Vocab's the dispensationalist with that whole dispensationalist, the church is Israel thing that he's pushing.
So everyone should understand.
Your dispensationalist replacement theology. See, you're a uniter. You're bringing it all together.
Yeah, I think even the average Christian knows that replacement theology is a slur dispensationalists use. I've done some shows that I hold the progressive covenantalism. It's essentially...
Well, to be fair, if we can be fair, not all dispensationalists use that slur. For example, Vocab Malone is a dispensationalist who does not resort to that slur. So not all dispensationalists.
Just so everyone understands, I am not a dispensationalist. Dispensationalists hold that Israel is wholly and totally distinct from the church. So they are not the same thing. They have a strong sense of discontinuity. So when he is criticizing me for replacement theology, which is what I'm saying is that the church through Christ is the eschatological fulfillment, typologically speaking, of Israel. When I say something like that, he's saying that's replacement theology. But that's the opposite of dispensationalism, because dispensationalism holds that they're totally separate. They're two distinct entities, not to be confused with each other in any way. So, again, this professor, this adjunct instructor, rather, he should not be instructing anyone other than himself about what dispensationalism is and who Marcion was. Again, thank you to Alan Torres for the super chat. Listen to this, everyone. Even a basic Christian knows if you're a replacement theologian, so-called, you're not a dispensationalist. Those things are at opposite ends.
Part that I had some problem with is where he espouses this dispensationalism when it comes to his doctrine that the church is the new Israel. That is very problematic for a number of reasons.
That's not a dispensationalist position, sir. That is a covenantal or fulfillment theology. I did a discussion with this, even with Ron Shields, Divine Prospect. We talked about this in the Atlanta airport. It's not the only time I've ever talked about it. I'm not saying you need to watch that, but you should understand if you're going to call someone a replacement theologian, then you also can't call them a dispensationalist, because those are two opposite positions.
But if you don't mind, Morizan, let me just talk about a theological problem here for a minute, because a lot of people, sometimes we take it for granted that people know some of these terminologies.
Yeah,
these
like
terminologies are sometimes used in seminary and high.
We take it for granted that an instructor of church history would know what dispensationalism is. But I guess that's our fault. Abu, are you a little surprised by this level of... I mean...
Yeah. So this is a professor at Hebrew Academy International, correct?
Yeah.
Who runs it? You said it was a gentleman named Howard.
Dr. Kenneth Howard. Yeah, Dr. Kenneth Howard.
Thank you. So he's not. Yeah. He doesn't run it. He's merely Vaughn Parker's a professor there.
Correct. Yeah. Now let's go. You want to go look at the website?
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah.
All right. Let's take a look here at the website. Everyone. So here's what's going on. I'm trying to explain what's happening. In the recent discussion I had with Xilex, this gentleman reviewed it, and as he reviewed it, I said, well, he's an educator. Let me find out where he teaches. And when I did, I was shocked with what I found. And so now we're reviewing it tonight. So now I'm attempting to go to the website. But Abu, guess what happens when I type in Hebrew Academy int.org?
But I can't see it. What happens?
Oh, okay. Well, maybe someone else can get it. Can someone else get Hebrew Academy int.org?
I have it up. I was able to get it up. Hebrew Academy of Detroit.org is what I went to.
No. I've got that. That's over here.
Okay.
And I do have that. So let's take a look at the website.
What's the other?
Hebrew Academy International. It doesn't come up. But they've changed their name recently. But okay, here, let's take a look here at it. I've got it on the screen. Let's do an analysis of this institution that was founded in 2018. I'm on the website, Abu. I've got a ton of screenshots ready, but I'm going to let you guide me. Where would you like me to go on this website?
Well, tuition/fees, not the drop-down menu, just the actual. Just click that part, because this part stood out for me right away.
Okay, tuition fees.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, exactly. Just click the header. Yeah, this. It's those last few words. You know.
Okay, I'm going to make it a little larger.
A short blurb.
HAI, unlike many institutes of higher learning, prides itself on being inclusive rather than exclusive. That means I could apply and get in, Abu, huh?
Yeah. Oh, no. Well, it does say explicitly that no matter what your nationality, and I think they might even mean that in the biblical sense. So if it turns out you're a Moabite or whatever it is that you are, Ishmaelite, I think, Tahar entertained that possibility. Whatever it is that you are, you can still go. So yeah, There's no
Okay.
discrimination there. And I mean that seriously.
And that our institution remains, I think the only thing they discriminate against is getting church history right. And that our tuition remains among the lowest of its kind, our enrollment extremely flexible, and life experience means something, all the while maintaining the highest standards of academia.
Yeah, that's what stood out for me. I did.
Why
I
does
haven't looked closely at the website.
Why does that stand out to you? But what's the problem with that sentence? So what?
Because when I was looking at their curricula section, I felt it didn't strike me as quite the highest standard.
Okay,
you know?
Are you talking about curricular info? I'm on
Yeah,
it
just
here.
so not the drop down menu, but yeah, just the section itself. Like when you get to their like what's required for PhD students.
Okay, let's take a look at what's required for PhD students. 3 term pace.
So this institution gives out doctorates.
They give out PhDs, yes.
Yes.
The Hebrew Academy International lets people earn PhDs.
As politely as I can put it, I'm not sure I would describe this as being among the highest of academic standards. You know, there may have been a bit of an overstatement.
I remember multiple lengthy papers due as a master's student. If you got assigned a 5-page paper, that was like a rarity. You know, that would be a rare thing. You'd be like, oh, and usually it was the first one of some kind of intro thing, you know, because it's progressive, as it were. And by the end, you know, you're doing some pretty intense stuff there. And then that's just master's level. I did do the 3 years residency of a D-Min at Talbot. And I can tell you it's incredibly intense. And this is not even a PhD. A D-Min is a professional degree. It's not as intense as a PhD. And it was much more than this. But it looks like there's something else here up here. So let's see what else it's saying you got to do. We want to display congruence across all of our classes. All class structures should include the following: 2 quizzes at least, 1 midterm exam, 1 final exam, 7 weekly postings from students, 1 to 3 submissions of written papers. So, okay, that does look like it's it. It looks like you do all this and then you submit those 3 papers and you would earn a PhD. I cannot believe. We must be missing something. There's no way anybody could think that would earn you a PhD. I mean, imagine that being a PhD. A PhD is supposed to be a subject matter expert, but also they're supposed to make a unique contribution to the field at an academic level. You can't call this a PhD if that's what you're requiring. And now you know, ladies and gentlemen, why I labeled the show the #1 pseudo school.
But I have to wonder, I wish we could compare all of these schools, that these curious institutions, because you have this.
You're saying they might be number 2, number 3, they might not be number 1?
Who knows? Like, for example, this has been discussed in other videos. I think the institution that gave our good friend Kelly Richardson his doctorate was Rehoboth International Bible College. I don't know what institution gave the man behind the cat sock puppet his doctorate, but he has a doctorate. And then there's the, we mentioned earlier, the Hebraic Institute of Theology, which gave a doctorate to Divine Prospect. I would love to see the doctoral thesis of each man. I don't even know what the topic was, but now that I see that at least some of these institutions, not necessarily all of them, might be allowing people to do 7-page theses. I imagine it might not be a difficult read, but yeah,
we do need to reiterate. We do need to reiterate.
PhD, so.
So there was a time in my little academic career when I was there, I considered going the PhD route. So I looked pretty heavily into the requirements. At that time, the requirements were along these lines in most institutions in biblical studies. You had to not only be able to read and understand Hebrew and Greek, the biblical languages. That was a requirement. You had to come in being able to read it, translate it, both languages. You had to have what they call an academic language. So you can't just speak English and read in English. You have to know, and I remember there was I think 3 different languages. I know it was German, French, and I think one might have been Spanish, but don't quote me on the third one. But I know at least German and French. You had to learn German and French. They called it your research language. Why? Because you couldn't be limited to only writing academics in the English-speaking world. You had to be able to, for example, read Tübingen stuff, old and new, things along those lines. You had to pick up an and I looked at that and I was shocked. I was like, well, maybe I could do that. Then I saw in the beginning, you had the whole intro, like sort of training you got was all on statistics and you had to like master statistics. It was like this statistical survey where you would be able to handle numerical data. And it was just completely daunting because I get there's different reasons for this. And I don't know, if they've changed it, different things. These are for the PhDs in the biblical studies world. Now, for a doctorate, something in philosophy, it's different. But I realized real fast I wasn't cut out for that level. I wasn't going to earn a PhD in biblical studies at an elite institution. I kind of quickly knew that. Are you familiar? Can you talk about from your experience and your knowledge, sort of what you know about that? I'm just saying from some of the things I know. I don't know exactly what's today right now, and I don't know every institution, but I can tell you that that's why I want to read this PhD as a requirement. It is utterly embarrassing. What do you know about requirements of a PhD besides this book level thesis? Huh?
But I mean, I think the thesis is what's central here. Both of us have at the very least seen a number of, because I mean, you wind up looking into a thesis of this or that person who's earned their PhD. That if I'm not mistaken, both of us have seen the doctoral thesis by Jacob Dorman, for example. So there's
when we were
abundance available.
When we were at Schoenberg, we saw not Chosen People, the book, but the doctoral thesis itself.
That's behind it, yeah. And so, I mean, there's a number of people who you can see their doctoral thesis. They've been published. A great many people who earn their PhD wind up publishing their doctoral thesis. They'll, and because it's essentially a book-length document, I mean, William Lane Craig did that. His doctoral thesis was on the Kalam cosmological argument, and
he has 2 PhDs. Craig has 2 earned
really?
PhDs. Yeah, he has one in philosophy and one in biblical studies. I forget the exact thing. One was in Germany and the other one was in England. Huh?
Oh, that's right. Yes, that's right. He went to Germany. He's fluent in German. You're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. And that's why once you realize what some of these people have done, even if you don't agree with them, you recognize the level of brilliance and work they put in. And so calling like someone like Dr. Craig doctor is very earned. And it is not morally right to call someone who did 3 term papers and weekly postings doctor in the same breath. It just isn't. Because it makes a joke of what a doctorate actually is. They shouldn't be offering PhDs at this school. They should wait. They should wait until they have more capacity, things like that. Because, by the way, who should be teaching PhD students, everyone? Only people with earned PhDs. You can't have people who don't have PhDs in the subject matter guiding the courses and the modules and being part of the advisory committee. It doesn't even look like they have any kind of advisory committee. These profs, like 3 or 4, sometimes 5, who go through your stuff and you have to meet with them and they battle you back and forth or say great job, that kind of thing. Like, how can you do that if people don't even have terminal degrees in the field? But they're not even doing that. They're turning in term papers. This is crazy, man.
So I do see, let's see how I found this flipping around. They do have a dissertation section under, let's see, curricula. The drop-down menu has degree programs and doctor of philosophy. It is a little bit more advanced. But yes, that does raise the question. Like, I don't know anything about the professors at this institution. I have to wonder about them. That's why, but like, for example, I remember when we looked into what was it, Rehoboth International Bible College, which again, that was the institution that gave Kelly his doctorate. My understanding is that it was run by a person who themselves didn't have a PhD. I don't know if that's the case here. Maybe the people who are running this, or at least one of the people involved in this institution, do have a PhD. I don't know. But yeah, that is the question. And I would like to see what they're producing.
So you're saying there's another place that has more requirements or different requirements?
Say it again. I'm sorry. Say that again. I missed.
You're saying there's another place on the website that has a different set of requirements?
Yeah. When you go to the drop-down menu under curricular, there's a it says degree programs at the top, and then it says doctorate of philosophy, and then you can choose PhD program requirements.
I don't know. I'm having trouble. The website's not exactly easy to navigate. You're saying.
So here, let me see if you can show your screen. Now maybe I'll be able to guide you through it. I'm
on a part of the website right now that says academic degree paths. I was about to show that, but you're not talking about that.
Oh, no, I don't think so. Here, let me see. Curricular degree programs, doctorate of philosophy. I don't see. Oh, no, it's right above that. When you go to that same drop down menu at the top, curricular, there's above academic degree paths. There's degree programs.
All right, here we go.
Yeah. So this is a bit more detailed.
So it's confusing how they have. It looks like they have two separate places where they give different requirements.
Yeah,
so it's a little confusing.
So it says 12 courses, 2 per 6 emergency. Each emergent residency week will involve, blah, blah, blah.
See, this looks like, but this is different. That's why it's confusing. This looks much closer to what you would actually require for something like it. But it's confusing because how is that the case when it seems like they have two different things going on?
Yeah, well, maybe what we read earlier is for individual courses for the candidates. I don't know, but yeah.
Maybe
I would love to see a dissertation, or multiple dissertations, multiple theses, doctoral theses from people who have earned PhDs with this institution and other institutions. Like I said, I'd love to see the dissertations, and I'm not trying to be funny. I'm sincerely interested in seeing the dissertations of Kelly Richardson, Will Brown, and even Divine Prospect. All these gentlemen have doctorates. I'd be curious what the topics were, and
Yeah, so this is closer to it, but you still have people who are your instructors and whatnot who actually don't have PhDs themselves. I don't understand.
So apparently, under the About section, they have a faculty section under the About drop-down menu.
Well, okay, so here's what I want to show people as well, because that's a lot of interesting stuff there. I would love to find out, maybe someone from the school can help us understand this better. Perhaps. Let's look at the book list. The sample book list, okay?
Oh, in the syllabus. Yes, the syllabus is amazing. Where was that? That was
this is the sample book list. We're going to look
resources.
at resources. Yeah. So I'm on the sample book list.
Under resources, they had the sample book list. Okay, because they had class syllabuses as well, which was amazing.
Check this out. All right, so this is a sample book list of books that might be required for courses offered at the Hebrew Academy of Detroit. Guys, are you ready for this? This is why I'm saying it's a pseudo school. Strong's. How could a person, let's say you're going for a PhD in Hebrew, you're required Strong's Hebrews to Negroes by Ronald Dalton Jr.
Yeah, I saw that on the syllabus as well. Yeah.
Volumes 1, 2, and 3. Look at this, Kay Arthur, How to Study Your Bible. I know for a fact Kay Arthur is a big proponent of inductive Bible study. That they followed her hermeneutical principles that she lays out in this book as doing inductive Bible study, they would never arrive at the conclusions they arrive at. It's so weird they're using a Kay Arthur book. You guys should listen to Kay Arthur. Check this out, Abu. Hebrews to Negroes, Volume 2, Volume 3. It's like listed kind of twice. Okay. The Forgotten Ways, a Deviation from Biblical Worship by Dr. Kenneth Howard. Well, look at this, Abu. Do you see what's up here? From Babylon to
Wait a minute, what do you say?
Timbuktu.
From Babylon to Timbuktu. Yes, of course.
Lost Tribes and Promised Lands, the origin of American racism. We the Black Jews. Why is that interesting? There's a reason why I think that's kind of interesting.
Tell me. I don't know. I'm not familiar with the word.
Well, our friend Sam Kestenbaum exposed Dr. Ben as not having a doctorate. It's a New York Times article. They literally, at the pseudo school, have a book required by a pseudo scholar who doesn't actually have a real PhD and yet went around being known as Dr. Ben.
Mm. Some of these works have their own classes, by the way. Like when you go to the syllabi, or as it says here, syllabuses, when you go to the class syllabuses section and you look at the different syllabi, they have apparently classes just dedicated to, at least this is the impression I'm getting, just to Dalton's Hebrew.
They do. I'm going to go to that section.
Yeah. Okay.
So here's the Hebrews Minister Manual. Look at this book, The Truth About Black Biblical Israelites. If you guys read my book, I quote that book a lot. I'm going to show it to you real quick here. Here's the book on the screen. It's this. That book is one of the required books. Are you guys seeing this? Can I read from this a little bit? This book that's required, that's on the screen. What? Why are you laughing?
Your show. No, I was just the fact that you asked. You were like, "Can I read from this? Can I read a few excerpts?"
Well, do you want me to?
See, the thing is, no, please do. But it's interesting that you're doing it for free. Other people are charging. You know.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. I want to read some
this
of this
is financed
here.
by the super chats, by the way.
It certainly is. Shout out to Alan Torres. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Here's some from this book that's on the screen here. In his book, From Babylon to Timbuktu, Rudolf Windsor gives additional information regarding the biblical account of Japheth's descendants. So this book is quoting another book, and this book is required for these classes. Listen to this. He states, after Noah's Ark rested on the mountain of Ararat and the dispersal of the children of men at the Tower of Babel, Japheth's descendants, Europeans, traveled northwest, north and northeast to the mountainous region of the Caucasus into Europe. Japheth's offspring dwelt mostly near the north of the Black and Caspian Seas. They were originally black, but turned white. The theory of probability is that major mutations or changes took place among the descendants of Japheth. Windsor, in the course of his researches, gives evidence for his theory about how mutation affects change in skin color. Is it just me that the descendants of Japheth were black originally turned white? This is quoting Windsor in this book that's also required. And then it says, Windsor, in the course of his researches. It doesn't say research. It says, in the course of his researches, give evidence for his theory about how mutation affects change. Was Windsor a geneticist and I'm not aware of it?
Maybe.
Okay.
I guess they weren't teaching the Windsor theory of genetic mutation at Biola.
Let me show you. No. Let me show you a little bit more here. Are you guys ready for this?
That's a knock against Biola, if you ask me. But go ahead.
Huh?
No, I was saying that I guess they weren't at Biola. They weren't teaching the Windsor theory of morphological mutation.
All right, listen to this.
Maybe that's a knock against Biola.
This is from page 47. The Bible informs us that some of the Jews did not believe in Jesus' teachings and that they showed hostility toward him. Those who believed were no doubt the ones of Israelite ancestry, while those who hated him were offspring of Esau. This book literally says that.
Yeah,
this is required.
So that's the GMS method. You determine people's paternal lineages across centuries and even millennia based on whether or not they hold teachings that you like. You know,
page 48. Henry Ford.
If you were an Israelite, you'd think like me.
Henry Ford Sr. stated in his in-depth study entitled "The International Jew," speaking about the white Jews as we know them today, that they are not the Old Testament people. What do you think of Henry Ford Sr.'s academic research, Abu?
I think we were joking about this recently. So we only drive Ford in this family. No, I don't know if Ford was. however interesting he may have been, I don't know what his qualifications were to speak on everyone's genealogies there.
All right. I want to show you a couple other parts that you may find interesting. I just want to show everyone how anti-Christian this is. Watch this. Jesus never said, this is page 59, Jesus never said that he could save us from our sins. His teaching and those of the prophets before him will help us to grow strong spiritually and live a more prosperous life. And live a more prosperous life when applied to our lives on a daily basis. The Savior God concept is based on Egyptian and Babylonian religious rituals, which God condemned. Some scholars writing on the origin of Christianity show how Christianity parallels with the Assyrian religion, that the story of Osiris, one of the oldest of Egyptian god, appears in the four Gospels of the New Testament. This has the Osiris trope in it.
That's interesting.
So I'm just trying to understand how this could be a required textbook that they said, here's some of the books you're going to have to read. Let me show you one other part, okay? The author seems to think that Crowdy, and I'm trying to find the spot. Yep, here you go. Ready? Here we go. It is my belief that the foregoing prophecies, the prophecy of Ezekiel chapter 37 and many others, began their modern-day fulfillment in 1896, when a prophet of the Almighty God, William Saunders Crowdy, resurrected and reestablished the House of Israel in Lawrence, Kansas. This is in the book here. This is the nature of the books we're getting. Also, James Cone is on there. At least he's a scholar, right?
Yes. Lee Cummings, I see, is on here.
Yep, Lee Cummings is on here. You know, he's got multiple books that have this type of title. You know, Lee Cummings. He says, of course, that King James is a black man. That's a Lee Cummings book there. I've got a lot of Lee Cummings books. They're usually titled The Negro Question, but he's got a number of other different ones. This is the cover of one of the Lee Cummings books. Here. Also, Prophetic Whirlwind is required by Only Love. And look, From Babylon to Timbuktu is so good, it's on here twice.
I noticed that.
Yeah. It's up here, and now it's going to appear again right here. Hidden in Plain Sight, Into Egypt Again Ships, The Valley of Dry Bones, Zondervan's Compact Bible Dictionary, 13th
Very
Tribe.
important.
Huh?
No,
You're a little quiet, so when I'm interrupting you, it's because I can't hear you. You're a little quiet. I'm sorry. I don't know what it is.
Let me see. Let's see. Hold on 1 second. No, I was saying that the 13th tribe is very important there. That's. By the way, can you hear me better now? Maybe if I just stay closer.
Holy Bible, King James Version, 1611 edition.
Okay. So, now, are any other Bibles mentioned? I don't see any.
Not that I see. Teach yourself to read Hebrew.
Mm-hmm.
Keep on going down here. The DNA of Sound, Exploring the Esoteric Character of the Hebrew Language by Advil Ben Levi. Some of you may not know, that's Zion Lex. That's Zion Lex's pen name. What'd you say?
No, that's exactly what I was going to ask. Who is Avdiel Ben Levi?
Well, you know who it is.
For those who don't.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know. You answered the question.
And Lost Tribes and Promised Lands is on here twice by Sanders. Look at this top book. Can you see the top one, Abu? Are you able to see the screen?
It says The Real Hebrew Israelites versus Edom and Khazars, Setting the Record Straight by Tazadak Shah.
Is that a One West Lashawan Quadash name, Abu?
Yeah, it would seem so. Yeah.
What if I told you that I had that book, Abu?
Say it again?
Would you want to see that book if I had it?
I would, yes. I'm not familiar with this work. I would love to see this book.
Look at the cover I'm showing. Yeah. I have the book. Look who's on the cover of this book. I know it's a little hard to see. So I'm
sorry. I couldn't see it. I'm looking on a phone.
Look what's on the very beginning of this book that's listed.
The One West Tribes chart. So definitely One West influence here. Between the Lashawan Kodash first name And then, yeah, the tribes chart. And who was on the cover there? Who were those 3 gentlemen?
Well, let me show you the inside. In there is General Hashar.
Ah.
This is a book that's required
Amazing.
at a school that hands out PhDs like candy.
Well, I'll say this. It might fill us with a bit of doubt about that, the academic rigor, about, their standards.
Can I show you more of this book that's on the book list?
Oh, please do. I've never seen this before, so I'm interested. Yeah, definitely.
Who's that, Abu?
Okay, so it looks like Masha, Yaiquab, and Arya in the middle. Yeah.
Yep.
From
Which
left to
people
right,
are
Masha.
the real Jews, Abu? The 7 heads or the guys on the bottom? Tell me now, Abu.
Oh my goodness.
This
is
book.
incredible.
This book is on the book list.
Incredible.
Wow. This is wild. And can I read some of this book?
Again, please do.
Page 81. You have so-called white people calling themselves St. Paul, St. Peter, etc. Etc. is spelled ECT. But only Israelites can be saints, as we shall prove with the scriptures. Revelation 13, 9, and 10. And then he quotes it. And here's what it says, though. He added his own parentheses in it. He that leadeth into captivity, as you so-called white people and Africans, shall go into captivity, parentheses, slavery. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience of faith of the saints. And Acts 5:31, him, Yahushai, hath God exalted with his right hand to be a prince and a savior, for to give repentance. Let's see who Christ was sent to save and give repentance for. To Israel and forgiveness of sins. Christ was only raised to save Israel. You have been deceived by your preachers and misguided religious teachers. This is a required book.
Wow. And I see they had unclean spirit. And they even have the One West Diacritic on that page you show where it says which people are the real Jews. They even have the little One West Diacritic under Ruach.
Look who else makes a cameo in the book.
Oh, yeah, Yeshaya.
Tell me what Yeshaya
but
believes,
that looks like
Abu.
that was taken...
It's from the BBC documentary. What does Yeshaya believe?
Well, I don't know where he's currently at in his beliefs. I imagine he still holds to a lot of those beliefs. But yeah, he was one of the 7 heads at One West.
What did he say he believed in the BBC documentary, though?
I guess the Tom Jones is an Israelite. I don't know what you have in mind.
No, just run down it all. Who else is an Israelite?
Beethoven, Shakespeare. There was somebody that I think Columbus or somebody. Oh, yeah, Columbus isn't, but there was somebody that maybe like Thomas Jefferson. The jury's still out. He's still doing research.
Abraham Lincoln.
There you go. That's who it was. Yes.
Can I show you some more pictures in this book, Abu?
Please do. Please do. I'm enjoying this.
This is a required book. I own half the books on this book list, by the way. I'm not exaggerating.
The question is, will they give you a PhD?
Danya Allah and Hashar are in this book. Rakah and his right-hand man. I actually don't know his name.
Nor do I. This is interesting. I wonder who the author of this book is.
It's
a bit ecumenical.
Tazadak Shah.
Yeah, no, Tazadak Shah. But I'm saying who that is. Like, I'm wondering if he seems a bit ecumenical in the way he recognizes a bunch of different people across the One West spectrum.
Well, whoever he is, he believes in the Second Amendment for sure. Tazadak Shah. No, you will not deprive me of my rights to bear arms, resist the tyranny. Because you can't resist tyranny with just mixed martial arts. We must unite and defend ourselves.
Oh, so this is a recent book.
Uh-huh. Can I read a little more of this book?
Please do.
Here's what it says. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, and here's the parentheses, it is coming when not expected, in which the heavens, kingdoms of this world, shall pass away with a great noise. This is not God's heaven. It is the so-called white man's heaven. Boom goes your government, your illuminist, your whole damn thing. Slavery is your fate. This is in the book.
This is required reading. Boom goes your government.
And the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Parentheses. The residue from the destruction and extreme heat from nuclear missiles.
Yeah.
What do you think of this rigorous scholarship, Abu?
Required reading. I wonder if that's if that has its own course. Have you seen the syllabuses yet? Because that's man, this is amazing.
We're going to the syllabus. There's one in particular I want to look at.
Sorry, forgive me if I'm rushing you.
That's all right. But there's more here, such as the secret relationship with blacks and Jews and the invention of the Jewish people, where the author denies that the dispersion of 70 AD even happened, which is the whole Hebrew Israelite thesis. He denies it. Shlomo Sand doesn't really think it happened. He denies the Exodus. And it's required. But I've got more. Can we look at some course descriptions together?
Yes.
Can I show you the class I really, really most want to take here?
Okay.
Let me see if I can find it here. It's this class. Okay, I'm going to click on the screen. Just give me a second here. 3, 2, 1. Now, the reason why this is important, everyone, if you're wondering why are we doing this late at night, all this, they are asking people to pay them money so they can come and get deceived and learn false information and learn about a coming enslavement of other people, at least according to some of the authors required, and to learn about teaching people how to defend the flat earth. Abu, today is the day for you to be in this class because it looks like it just happened. The first day happened right now. It looks like we missed it. Maybe you could still get in to Hebrew Cosmology, W24, GE 4000, taught by the president of the school, Dr. Kenneth Howard. Can I read this?
Wow. Yes, please do, because I just, that geocentric part is stood out for me.
Is it possible to believe in the Bible and the heliocentric, spherical design of the earth?
Amazing.
Heliocentric and spherical, two different things, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, there's certainly one. Yeah, oh, man. And then it goes on to say geocentric, and then in parentheses, flat Earth. Yeah. I mean, you can believe in a round Earth and still believe in a geocentric model, or vice versa. Yeah.
What does the Bible say about the geocentric flat Earth design of the Earth? There's been a recent resurgence in the belief that the Earth is flat. From their geographical and historical context, the ancient Hebrews had a flat Earth cosmology. From the very beginning, biblical characters have been flat earthers. To believe otherwise is to deny the literal truth of the Bible. Can you imagine,
my goodness,
going into a school that prides itself as having the highest academic standards, taking a class that teaches you how to defend a flat Earth view, and to say if you don't, you're denying the Bible?
It's incredible. It's incredible.
Join now. Can I read more about this class?
Please do. By the way, I want to know, because I was unable to find it. I didn't take a thorough look, but I'm curious about their prices.
I think it's like a $150 credit hour.
I don't know if you found anything.
Yeah, I think I saw a $150 credit hour, but I could be wrong. But I think it's what I saw.
Wow.
Much less than most schools that I saw. $150 credit hours,
Incredible.
This class is designed to go through biblical and scientific evidence presented for a flat earth is fourfold and includes 1, the firmament, 2, the waters in the heavens above, 3, the earth being immovable, and 4, specific texts that refer to a flat earth. This class will present the evidence by placing ideas from different verses together and by presenting accompanying assumptions as well as biblical evaluation. The evaluation will draw from a range of scholarships to minimize bias. What you'll learn. We will look at how the ancient Hebrews had the Egyptians to the southwest and the Babylonians to the northeast. Both civilizations had flat earth cosmologies. The biblical cosmology closely parallels the Sumero-Babylonian cosmology, and it may also draw upon Egyptian cosmology. We explore how the Genesis creation story provides the first key to the Hebrew cosmology. The order of creation makes no sense from a conventional perspective, but is perfectly logical from a flat earth viewpoint. We will look at a range of original sources. History of flat earth beliefs from the Babylonians to the present day raises issues central to the history of philosophy of science and its relationship to the Bible. We will look at a range of original sources. History of flat earth beliefs from the Babylonians to the present day raises issues central to the history and philosophy of science in relation to the Bible. Yes, I read it twice because it's twice. We will explore scriptures that are commonly cited by geocentrists and flat earthers. The biblical view is geocentricity with further restrictions. There are very few scriptures that support the Earth's sphericity in the Bible. Just so everyone understands, geocentric is saying that the Earth is the center of the solar system. The flat Earth is separate. Those are two separate things. So they teach geocentrism as opposed to heliocentrism, which is the sun is the center, as well as the flat Earth apologetic. We will look at the order of creation, the vault of heaven, the shape of the earth, the celestial bodies, sun, moon, stars, and the book of Enoch. In this class, we will study the Bible in its literary context as well as in its ancient, historical, religious, social, and cultural context. The Bible is not written with 21st century concerns or questions in mind. The Bible is written in Hebrew, Greek, or Aramaic to ancient peoples who lived in wider Mediterranean society. So, what do you think, my friend?
I mean, all jokes aside, it is heartbreaking to think that there are people who are paying money to be taught. They're paying to receive courses on the flat Earth. It's so I see modern Hebrew. What's the one above it? I noticed amongst the syllabi, or as they put it, syllabuses, they had a course for Paleo Hebrew. I would love to see what that's like.
I would too.
You know,
here's a class you could take: Hebrew apologetics, defending the law. So you would think, when you think apologetics, we think defending the gospel. For these guys, it's defending the law. Check this out. Almost all of the Christian world regards Paul's letters as proof that we need not concern ourselves with keeping Yah's Torah. Bada boom, bada bing, bada bing. Now let me show you this. Look at this. Here's what you'll learn, Abu. Why ethnicity places an important role in the scriptures.
My goodness.
How to share and defend the law against sola fide, sola gratia, and solus Christus believers. So they're saying they're going to teach you how to defend against people who believe faith alone, grace alone, Christ alone. This is
all right. We're off to all right. We've made a positive turn there. I'm kidding.
The Catholics may like some of this.
Yeah, some like, hey, it's not all bad that Hebrew Academy International.
Yeah.
Get certain things.
So here's a class: Growing Greatness, Making Medicines and Cultivating Cures. Hebrew Apologetics, FA 23, Ancient Path Preparation. Check this out. This is Ancient Path Preparation Foundation or whatever. Look at one of the things on here. Who is the Crafty Council and what have they been up to?
They're going to watch your show and be like, these guys are the Crafty Council.
Look, if you guys want to see, if somebody wants to look at, my degree, that's fine. Go to Phoenix Seminary and look at the MA program. And then you can see. So that's that. Just check it out. But even if I hadn't done that, we could critique it. So look who's teaching church history here, Abu.
Vaughn Parker,
the man who thinks Marcion taught
the gentleman who we just saw.
Yeah, who thinks I'm a dispensationalist.
Yep. Yes. Well, because replacement theology is part of dispensationalism, according to that professor of church history. Which again takes us back to this. I mean, not to beat a dead horse, but this point about the highest academic standards.
Yes. Continuing on here, you mentioned that Ron Dalton's book is one of the classes you can take. What do you think about that?
Yeah, imagine that. An entire course on just one of his books. I can't imagine it.
Yeah, well, it is interesting. I'm trying to get to it. I know it's here somewhere.
So I saw it in the syllabus section. When you go to resources, they have class syllabuses, and when you look through the syllabi, apparently there's an entire course, multiple, by the way, courses dedicated to his books, multiple courses.
Yeah, but I believe it's also here.
I haven't found the section that you're looking at.
I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna find it right now. Here we go. Ready?
Yep.
Here we go. This was taught in fall 2020. One of the most controversial books on the market today is now in textbook form. It will explore the original Hebrews of the Bible and expose many truths that have been hidden from the world. This course is taught by the
Wait,
author of, huh?
amazing. No, I was just going to ask you who the professor is. It's Dalton himself, huh?
Yeah.
So Ron Dalton is a professor at the Hebrew Academy International.
Ron Dalton is a professor. He teaches the class on this book, but guess what? He also teaches an independent studies of the same thing, apparently he did, and he also teaches his other book, his second book.
My goodness. And his, wow. And the third
I think he
volume
teaches
as well,
his
huh?
third book, too. Why do you think that's problematic that Ron Dalton Jr. is a teacher?
It's his books, without trying to be funny. They're the, you know how people like to throw around the word pseudo. It's the height of pseudo scholarship, you know, or just say pseudo, as the youth say on the internet now. It's the height of pseudo. It's, I mean, my goodness. Yeah, the Genesis 49ers channel has done like these in-depth looks at his books, and it's just so bad, you know. I mean, he has footnotes that'll like reference a show on Netflix, you know, like he'll say like, see such and such show on Netflix, you know. Just, it's not the highest standards of academia.
No, it's not. Now, what's the other thing? A course description
So
you wanted
between
me to
the
take a
flat
look
earth
at?
stuff and Ron Dalton, say it again.
For the course description you wanted me to look at?
Oh, no. That's fine. It was, you basically found it. I was looking at under resources. There was a section that said class syllabuses in the drop down menu, but it doesn't give any descriptions. I would love to. Yeah. By the way, when you were looking through those descriptions, did you see the Paleo Hebrew in there?
Yeah, but it didn't really say much about it, really. It didn't really have much information.
Because I'd love to, yeah. I want to see what they consider Paleo Hebrew.
So this is the front page of the website. They've got the PhD students and the teachers. There's Maury Von Parker. Here's the degrees they offer. Let me make this a little bigger for everybody. They offer different degrees here. So here's a guy who has a doctorate, but see, it's in medicine, and you know, I respect that. And he got he got also degrees in biomedical sciences, but I mean, is that what he's teaching? No, it's kind of odd. Okay, let's take a look here. They have a lot of certificates. They have an AA, they have a bachelor's, they have an MDiv, Master of Divinity of Hebrew Studies and Apologetics Cosmology. Do you want to learn how to defend your faith in an anti-Torah world? Look at this. The MDiv degree is considered the degree that's the stepping stone traditionally to a PhD, or sometimes these days a DMiv. The MDiv is like what the Army requires their chaplains to have. It's usually considered a 90 credit hour degree most of the time. And some smaller schools you could teach if you have an MDiv, sometimes in conjunction with something else. It's hard to get a teaching gig these days without a PhD. But look what it says here. The MDiv degree will also prepare you to methodically explain the origins of the world. You will study the foundations of scientific inquiry, along with key theories about flat Earth, the way our ancestors knew it, and the way the Torah tells us. Isn't this the MDiv, in the description of the Master of Divinity in Hebrew Studies, Apologetics, and Cosmology? A major element of it is learning how to defend a flat Earth.
Man.
What?
No, I'm just, yeah. A required course at that, I bet.
You know, I wonder if all the professors here hold to a flat Earth. It doesn't seem like they would all hold to a flat Earth. But it's obvious that Dr. Kenneth Howard does.
Wow.
So here's the classes that are kind of ongoing right now. These are the classes that are coming up. And then they show you the residency schedule. And they have a thing for prisons as well that they do, which is interesting because I want to show you what they teach to the prisoners at this, where you can earn credit. Check this out. This is something they teach at prisons. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Correspondence program developed in conjunction with the Federal Bureau of Prisons. The falsehoods of Christianity, Islam, and Buddhism, among others, are readily available to our incarcerated people. So you can earn a certificate of applied Hebrew study within 2 years. And they show a little bit about what it is. Here's the curriculum. Are you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Check this out. Section 4, why are we treated this way? This is what they're going to teach prisoners. The age-old battle between Jacob and Esau. Esau, who is he? The plan against us. The crafty counsel, Psalm 83. The crafty counsel, Confederate. Crafty counsel, 13th Amendment. Crafty counsel, Emancipation Proclamation. Crafty counsel, Black Codes. Crafty counsel, vagrancy laws. Crafty counsel, convict lease system. Crafty counsel, chain gang. Crafty counsel, members. 1960 rights, civil rights era, etc. That's what you're going to learn. What do you think, Abu? Do you think that's going to help the prisoners?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still speechless over the flat Earth natural science requirement and so on.
What's wrong with the flat? What's wrong with the flat Earth, man?
I don't know. I feel like I wasn't prepared for this.
You were
to think that they're charging.
Caught off guard by that?
Yeah, caught off guard. Legitimately caught off guard. Yeah, it's I'm speechless. It's I guess I want to look closer at that at their ANA school for the prisons.
Here's some degree requirements here. I'm on a PDF now that you can download, and this is the MA, and you can get in Hebrew apologetics. You have to take Hebrew cosmology 1 and 2, Paleo Hebrew beginning and advance. Hebrew apologetics, defending the law. Hebrew apologetics, defending my heritage. Hebrew apologetics, defending Yahusha. Hebrew apologetics, defending the Sabbath. And then a master's thesis. Thoughts on that?
So I'm sorry, I was looking at the ANA school thing here. This is for a master's degree or for the PhD? That's
for the MA, Master of Arts.
Okay, for the MI. Let me see.
What?
Let me try and zoom in here. No, I was just trying to look at it. Yeah. So the foundational courses include 2 of Dalton's books, huh?
So that
and the non-Greek view of the New Testament. 2 courses. So there's 2 courses in Hebrew cosmology, not just one. They have to take 2 courses, and then Paleo Hebrew, which I must confess I'm really curious what they believe is Paleo Hebrew, because so many different people use Paleo Hebrew to refer to so many different things at this point.
So some of the classes are available online, Abu. So I was
under the impression that perhaps all of them were.
No. I mean, they're publicly available.
Gotcha. That's an audit or something like that.
You can watch some of them. So I watched some of them. And then I'll tell you what stood out to me was how especially anti-Christian they were. The key element was charging the church with all kinds of things. One thing that kept on popping up was this idea of, you guys, it's been an invasion of Greek philosophy that they push. That was a key
I see it at the bottom. It says Hebrew apologetics defending Yahusha.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. Then I was like, what name is that?
Well, that's if I'm not mistaken, I think Divine Prospect also has in the past. I don't know if he still does. It refers to Jesus as Yahusha, but that's apparently their preferred pronunciation of the name Joshua. Of what would be in a standard pronunciation Yehoshua. Or for one Westers, Yahawashai. But yeah,
I've got the PhD.
That also makes me wonder about their approach to Hebrew.
Check this out. I got the PhD degree plan. There's a PDF you can download. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Academy Foundations, Course of Scribe, Ancient Path Preparation. So that's what it says so far. This is getting started.
Mm-hmm.
Here's your PhD courses.
The Bible.
32 hours. Understanding the Bible, Old Testament Hebrew Scriptures, Biblical Feast Advanced, Hebrew Apologetics, Hebrew Cosmology 1, Scripture Interpretation 1, Paleo Hebrew Language Beginning, Principles of a Hebraic Prayer Life, PhD Concentration Courses, 40 hours, Church History, The Untold Truth, that's by Von Parker, Teaching Hebrew Faith to Children, Psych and Development of the Learner Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, The Souls of Black Folk, The Miseducation of the Negro, The
Wait,
Religious Instruction of the
I'm
Negroes in
sorry.
the United States. Huh?
Just to be clear, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
Sorry.
so some of these courses are only 4 hours long. That's what I'm to understand. So, for example, Hebrew Cosmology 1 is basically, even if it takes you 2 days or 3, however many days or how many classes it might take, it's only 4 hours long. I just realized that.
Maybe they mean 4 credit hours.
Ah, okay, all right.
Or maybe
Okay.
I imagine that's what it's saying. But at least that's how my degree plan was laid out. You know, you got to go 4 hours at a time, multiple times.
Gotcha.
Stages of the Awakening, Learning Styles of the Hebrew Tribes of Africa, Hebrew to Negroes 1. So now let's go to page 2 of the degree plan.
These are the concentration. Imagine that, a course on Ron Dalton's book as part of the concentration, but okay.
It's shocking. I mean, Ron Dalton is a Holocaust revisionist. In his book, he offers fake quotes by the man with the mustache as an apologetic defense that they are the people of the book. Alan Torres makes a good point. He says nothing about messianic prophecies in the OT.
Yeah, maybe they're not worried about that.
Yeah. So Alan Torres, you bring up a good point. That's why I wanted to go through this.
That's a great point. Yeah.
We're not just sitting around randomly, you know, I don't know, making jokes or something. We're looking at what actually is required and what they say they teach. You know, we're showing this. The point is that people were taking this very serious. It's obvious that somebody put a lot of work into the website. It's obvious that this is sort of someone's heart and soul. They believe in it. People were going to go out here feeling good. They got a PhD. And they're going to be having as one of their books, Ron Dalton's book as a textbook. It's shocking if you've read Ron Dalton's work to think that. It's forget about for a second anti-Semitism, all that. We're just talking about how poor they are, how badly written these books are.
Certainly Dalton's book. That's a book that I've got to see a bit of, thanks to Yeshub over at Genesis 49ers sharing large swaths of it. So yeah, I definitely would say that about Ron Dalton's book.
All right, so this is from the Fall 22 catalog. And remember the book list. To me, the things that were it's almost like whatever else they did, if they, I don't know, for lack of a better word, did some good stuff, let's just say. The flat earth stuff is inexcusable. The book list, the poor level of books on the book list, which I read some from to show you here tonight, is inexcusable. And the
quality of the professors.
Huh? Yeah. The professors themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's I think we're going to see more schools like this, Abu.
Well, there are, yeah. I mean, yeah. There's a few of them. This, who knows? Maybe this one is more. I don't know. It's more. It might be more well put together. Maybe they just put more up. But yeah, there definitely are multiple institutions like this already, and it seems like the graduates from these institutions go on to attempt to establish their own institutions. But yeah, there's a proliferation of these kinds of institutions. I want to be careful how I put this. A lot of people on the internet throw around the word grift, and in some senses it's being misused. But there is this feeling that people are selling a product that just it isn't worth the price. That's why I'm really curious how much they're charging. And you were saying they're possibly charging $150 a credit.
Here, I'm gonna try to look financial info.
Yeah, because that.
Oh, that doesn't really have it. Let's see, financial aid. I'm gonna look through some of it. What do you think an academic dean of an accredited school would say if they saw this?
See, I think it's very easy initially to poke fun at it and laugh and stuff like that, but at a certain point it becomes sad and disturbing. So I do think that without any attempt to be funny, I do think someone like that, someone who's firmly within academia, would feel a certain level of disgust.
Yeah, can I show
So
you some?
if it's sure, go ahead. I was just going to
No,
say,
go
if
ahead,
it's
go ahead,
$150
brother. Go ahead.
credit. No, I don't know if it's $150 a credit, but hypothetically speaking, if it's $150 a credit, and, they're requiring certain degrees to go through 40 credits, yeah, you might have to pay $6,000 to go through a process of studying the flat earth, studying Ron Dalton, and it's just, that doesn't seem like a product that's worth the price, But go ahead.
Well, I wanted to show you a few things on here. First of all, so when you click on Statement of Beliefs,
Okay, I'm interested in that.
well, it's empty. Hebrew Academy International believes blank. There's nothing on it.
They're working on that one. I mean, if I had to guess, the different people they're pulling together believe different things, and in all seriousness, so it probably is difficult to come up with a singular statement of belief.
But they do have their school colors on the website.
Okay.
So the school colors are on the website, but not beliefs. Here's the faculty list.
Priorities.
So here's the faculty are all listed as well. So you can read about all the folks here. Well, actually, you can read about some of them. So they're all listed, but only several listed. It says PhD faculty, but when I was looking at some of them, it looks like there's people involved with the PhD program who don't have PhDs themselves. But it looks like they have.
That's interesting.
They have.
And what gives that away? That they have the title Moray rather than Doctor?
Yeah, I think so.
That might be or at least that'd be an interesting hypothesis.
Let's see what's trying to what.
Well, PhD faculties that yes he.
What's her PhD in though?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with the people listed, so I can't.
I'm trying to find. It doesn't clearly say. In 2018, Dr. Lambert started the I Am Institute. Most recently, after completing her certification in plant-based nutrition at Cornell, the I Am Institute began offering holistic wellness consultants.
Okay, interesting. Jokes aside,
it's very interesting. Very interesting. So she has a PhD in biochemistry. But see, this isn't a
Florida
science
State University.
school.
I see. Yeah.
So it's just like, it's just
so
odd.
That would be interesting because this takes us back to the statement of beliefs. I wonder, like for example, this person, Kirsten Grant, who has a PhD in biochemistry. I'd be curious if she believes in a flat Earth or if she disagrees with that aspect of the school. That's an interesting question.
Look at this. Check this out. They have a library, Habaru Library. The library's collection has about 200 donated books. Honestly, I have way more books than that in my own library at the house. You can't have an institution with that's one of the requirements for accreditation is a library of a certain size. 200 would not cover it. Maybe they're saying that it has more now because it says today has grown with a number of print books, ebooks, 50 journal, newspaper, but doesn't say how many. So maybe they're just saying that's what it started at. But they're not saying.
The impression that I'm getting, though, is it hasn't. I'm sorry. The impression I'm getting is that it probably hasn't grown much beyond that. Because if 200 is a point to brag upon, a larger number would as well. I'm guessing it remains quite small.
So it offers 40 courses, and it says you can click on each course to view the syllabus, but when you click on them, nothing actually ever happens.
Yeah,
check this out.
Notice that.
Abu, look at one of the classes, decoding E1B1A DNA.
Okay, so I guess there's some emphasis on paternal lineage there.
Look at this. GE 400, Flat versus Spherical Earth, a biblical explanation.
If I recall correctly, so Ron Dalton being one of the teachers there, the question about, statement of beliefs, if they put emphasis on E1B1A, I know that Ron Dalton, I don't know if he still does, but when he debated Yeshub, there was a debate between Yeshub from the Yap Gang and Ron Dalton. And at that time, Ron Dalton had a very wide open attitude towards haplogroups, where, you could have Semites with E and Semites with J and Semites with C. And that also comes up in his first documentary as well. So So I don't think he's. So maybe there are disagreements within the faculty, which I guess is a normal part of academia, even
but
in the
I
lower
mean,
echelons of such.
but he's saying, the courses say you deny the truth of the Bible if that's what you hold to.
Mm-hmm.
So check this out. Here's the FAQ section, frequently asked questions.
Orthodox Moore wrote, "Wait, what about E1B1A?"
Yeah, there's a class apparently. Check this out. This is an FAQ of a school website. Is salvation based on race or identity? The idea that race and ethnicity play a role in salvation should be rejected. While the Academy does teach that the true Israelites in the Bible were people of color, it has nothing to do with salvation by grace alone. Now, why is that weird, Abu, that it says it has nothing to do with grace alone? Why is that weird on the FAQ? Do you know why?
Maybe they should have dropped the G. It sounded like it was going to be a disclaimer, but it seems like they fumbled it.
Well, yes, but also remember another part of the website where you learned Hebrew apologetics and how to defend against grace alone?
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like here they're affirming grace alone because they say race doesn't have anything to do with salvation by grace alone, and they cite Ephesians 2:8-9.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand what I'm saying? What, aren't they affirming grace alone here, Abu?
I mean, I don't know. No, not necessarily. It's weird that they would reference Ephesians, though, unless they're rejecting it. I mean, while the Academy does teach that the true Israelites in the Bible were people of color, it has nothing to do with. I feel like they mistyped that. Because it's like there's something missing there. Like maybe they meant to say that even though you're not saved by your ethnicity, even though the true Israelites looked a certain way, you still have to do it through the law. It's not clear what they're trying to say there. Like, how do you interpret that? I feel like they fumbled and the text and accidentally omitted a couple of words there, maybe an entire sentence or phrase. Excuse me.
I'm trying to get back to the section there where it has all those pull down menus. Do you remember how you got to that?
It should be all the way at the top. Oh, there you go.
Huh? No, this isn't it.
From my perspective, it's at the top of the screen. I don't know. Maybe if you just go to the regular homepage, the admission.
Well, let's wrap this up.
Your version is different from mine.
A little bit here.
Okay. I was curious on your interpretation of that grace alone part, though.
It sounds like they're saying race doesn't have anything to do with salvation, which is by grace alone. And then they cite Ephesians 2:8-9, affirming grace alone. But that's what it sounds like to me.
But then
it sounds like they're affirming grace alone in that particular sentence.
But then they quote
Ephesians 2:8-9 is a common proof text for grace
alone.
But
at the same time, they're saying it has.
They're saying it has nothing to do with it.
No, I agree. But it's strange that they write. Yeah, exactly. It's. I think they fumbled something there. Yeah.
It sounds like to me they're affirming grace alone in that part. I don't know what. I'm not sure. I don't see anything unclear. I'm not sure what you were seeing.
Okay. All right. Maybe I misread it.
But I don't know. Where's the place where there's like a place where you pull down a bunch of stuff? That's what I'm trying to look for.
But, yeah. You're on the desktop version, right? I'm surprised it's not at the top there. Maybe just go to the website again. Just go to, Hebrew Academy of Detroit.org. Start at the very beginning, and then it'll probably pop up into.
Yeah. So here's how many students they have total, and here's where they come from.
Okay, I'm interested.
Right now, the list is all on there. The graphics are actually pretty cool. They got people, it looks like, from all over the United States. They have 130 current students. Started out with 67, and they've got 130 currently.
Interesting.
They project 180.
Including in the Bahamas, and there's 2 students in Zambia, 2 in South Africa. Huh?
What people are saying, this is so dope. I can't wait. I would like to do the courses. Seems like they should maybe take those quotes from current students. Not people who said they want to, but hey.
No students from Arizona. You should take a certain pride in that. 14 from Ohio, maybe.
I think I should see if I can get in.
Yeah, there you go. You can tip the balance there. Ohio seems to be contributing the most students. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, Michigan is.
Well, like I said, I saw that they had been influencing people in Ohio. Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad some people came through on a late night joint here. Shout out to folks from Australia. What's up, Warrior Woman? Shout out to Nate 2D2. Shout out to Orthodox and more. A lot of fascinating stuff. Abu, what's the big picture with this situation here, in your opinion?
Well, honestly, I want to know more. But the final word that I would have, and this is somewhat repeating what I said earlier, is there's been a proliferation of institutions like this, where unaccredited institutions which are churning. Oh, that's what we didn't look at. Their thing on their accredited, whether
I'm
they're
trying to
accredited
look
or
for it
not.
right
But whatever
now.
the case,
If you can find a
yeah.
link, send it to me.
But yeah, I have not found it yet, but I remember we discussed it earlier. But nonetheless, these institutions that are passing themselves off as, degree bestowing institutions, and I don't know. It's funny in the beginning, but after a while, a certain fatigue sets in, because it's so heartbreaking to think that some people are paying thousands of dollars for this, and yeah, I don't know. And this is not the only institution like that. That was the main thing that I wanted to point out.
So if somebody was going to go, what would you say to them?
If they were dead set on doing it and they were a friend of mine, I would say, can I look over your shoulder? I want to, please let me see how their Hebrew course is. I'd want to take a look at some of the courses that sound interesting. But if they weren't dead set on it, I would, not to mess up anybody's business, or as the youth say, not to mess with anyone's hustle. But yeah, I might discourage a friend from going to this institution, at least at paying for it. If they were doing this for free, then by all means, please have fun, enjoy, engage in dialogue with them. But to pay perhaps thousands of dollars for this is troubling, even if it's just hundreds, like I think Rehoboth International Bible College, we're charging like $500 for their doctorates or something like that, their honorary doctorates. You could buy an honorary doctorate, but they said it was a processing fee. It's a free honorary doctorate, but with a $500 processing fee or something.
Wait, seriously? Wait, so you're just saying that was Kelly Richardson just bought his PhD?
Well, what I'm saying is they gave him an honorary doctorate, and on their website, that's what they say, that you can get an honorary doctorate for free with this $500 processing fee or something like that. I'm not saying that necessarily means he did so, but it seems easy to arrive at that conclusion, that he probably went the route that's described in the website. Maybe he went a different route. I don't know. Apparently, the person who runs that institute is very impressed with him. They wanted him to run their they wanted to have like a subsection, or a department of Hebrew apologetics, and they wanted him to run it. I don't know where that went, but I think that speaks to the. Oh yeah, not joking.
They wanted him to run it.
Yeah, they wanted him to head their department of Hebrew apologetics. That was something that they put on social media a while back.
Is he doing it?
I don't know. I don't know the answer. My guess is he's not, but I don't know for certain.
Oh, that's really.
But yeah, the main thing is there's multiple institutes like this. Like there's multiple. So like for example, we mentioned earlier, Divine Prospect has a PhD. Apparently, he has a doctorate from an institute called the Hebraic Institute of Theology. I think it was called.
Was it that or technology, I think that's what it is, or one of the two?
No, I think it's theology. Maybe it's technology, but I think it's theology. But yeah, it makes you wonder. And then I remain curious about the institution that gave a doctorate to Will Brown. I don't think he's divulged what school that was, but it seems like there's a bunch of these schools, and the number of schools like this are expanding.
Yeah, I think it's going to continue happening.
Yeah, because there's money to be made here,
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it's like if they're going to all this trouble, I mean, somebody has to pay for it. I mean, I don't know. That seems fair. Doesn't it seem fair?
I don't know. I'm a big believer in a labor of love. I don't.
What? Well, how do you don't have a job where you don't get paid?
No, I do, but I'm saying, let's put it this way: I help people out, and with certain subjects and stuff like that privately, but I don't charge them precisely because I find it I would be troubled by the idea of someone paying to learn from someone as uneducated as I am, and then therefore I sort of look askance at people who don't have those sort of scruples, who are quick to charge a hefty price for an education or a bit of teaching that might not warrant
you
it.
definitely help a lot of people and teach a lot of stuff. As far as that's definitely true that you do. I always appreciate, what your information that you share. I'm trying to find. I had a screenshot for the part where they talk about their accreditation. Just trying to find out where it went, because I had a little section here where I talked about it, or where they talked about it. Having trouble finding it though. I'm still looking for it. I think it's actually on my phone. What do you want to say about accreditation? What do you think about accreditation?
I'm just merely curious. I think we had discussed it before. I haven't seen it, but I think we were discussing it earlier about how they had some sort of statement about their whether it's an accredited institution, and apparently there was some allusion to it not being so. But I haven't seen that for myself, so I don't know. I don't have anything in detail to share on that at the moment.
Yeah, they describe the school as self-accredited.
Ah, yes, there you go. Yeah.
Which I don't know if I've ever heard that term before.
No, nor I. This is the first time I'm hearing it as well.
I'm trying to find out where the screenshot is, because there is a section that's about accreditation, but I'm trying to find where it is.
Oh, I see. I found it.
You found it? Can you see?
Maybe
me
I can put it in. Yeah. Let's see. Maybe can I put it in the live chat? Maybe that'll.
Yeah.
Let's see. I attempted to put it in the live chat. So let's see
if they'll let you do that.
Accreditation. The biblical standard is under great assault. Yep. Hebrew Academy International is a self-accreditation institution where the process and status implies a degree of autonomy. Okay.
Trying to find out where
that was what when Kelly Richardson was questioned about the institution where he went to get his doctorate, which itself is not accredited. He said the way he tried to justify it was he said, well, what I'm doing is I'm keeping money with our people. I'm not giving it away to the nations. So you go to an institution like this to keep it in-house.
Okay, well, I guess that's a reason.
That's where my mind went when I saw this about,
all right, here's where it says it. The biblical standard is on the great assault contemporarily, and as Hebrew Academy International, we intend to maintain the high standard of clarity and candor where virtue and biblical principles are concerned. The board is bound to furthering the kingdom of Yisrael through formal education. Hebrew Academy International does not carry regional accreditation and is not currently registered with or in association with the U.S. Department of Education. All students enrolled will accept a quality education regardless of an accrediting group of schools accredited through. Hebrew Academy International is a self-accreditation institution where the process and status implies a degree of autonomy on the part of the Hebrew Academy International to make decisions about academic offerings and learning. The faculty, administrators, and staff of the Hebrew Academy International will conduct a self-study using our organizer's set of expectations about quality, standards, criteria as our guide. Accreditation will include the act of granting credit and recognition to the educational institute as to maintain set standards. They're saying if they pass their own tests, they'll give themselves accreditation.
Or they'll recognize other institutions in the future. That's the way I took it.
Oh, yeah. Imagine you're going to have an accreditation board that they then accredit other institutions.
Yeah, they've set up their own board. The members of the Hebrew Education Accreditation Board are scheduled to meet 3 times per calendar year. That's amazing. So, yeah, I think they're offering to set up a group amongst themselves which bestows accreditation on others.
Well, I feel like
what's interesting is...
Huh?
Really quick, this thing about autonomy and being able to make their own decisions about academic offerings, what I take away from that is they're saying that in order to have mainstream accreditation, they would be forced by the system to not teach a flat earth. I think that that might be an allusion to that in there, or something in the back of the head of the writer there, what they would be allowed to teach.
That might be a sticking point with any accreditation board.
The U.S. Department of Education might question certain things.
Well, we learned a lot. I'm sure this is going to cause a lot of trouble. These groups do not like it when you look at their stuff in depth. They don't like it. They'll accuse you of racism and slander and all kinds of other things. We're still learning about the institution, so there's questions we have. But I think it's important to bring this out to people, understand how serious some of these groups are taking this, and to see you may run into doctors, PhD people in the future who have a PhD from this institution.
Or others, yeah. When someone describes himself as Dr. Kelly Richardson, for example, I think it's fair to ask, where did you get your doctorate from? What institution?
Yeah, I do. But they're not very forthcoming about that. So shout out to y'all. Thank you very much. I do hope today was ultimately beneficial, because I think it's important to look at this and see what's going on. And I want to read 1 Timothy 6 one more time, verse 20 and 21. O Timothy, guard the deposit entrusted to you. Avoid the irreverent babble and contradictions of what is falsely called knowledge, for by professing it, some have swerved from the faith. Grace be with you. Amen and amen. And you guys have a beautiful night. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Thank you, Abu.